Italian sales malamsaw lalguk tune in at yal station gidra TMC di bulngitra bekla de bo modado ora ang bard guest gida adrang bard ma di wera bok introduce tirgal guest gida di ku aiswa setya program el girel sel maral May mal marala isel Palau Blockchain Summit mong aktual gitra bekla ma hukpol sabedal remeng sa isel tial el summit el morngir Palau mal katengel morngi maklol toil girel ab esel toil dosu to huni mortirkel me girel ab. Good afternoon. Thank you. I've explained that I will speak English because of our guest visiting from abroad, and also I've explained in Palauan that this program is about the upcoming very exciting Palau Blockchain Summit, which is the first of its kind in the Republic of Palau, which will bring some very exciting guests. And this is especially very inspiring for our young men and women to learn about the new blockchain technology and what it can do for Palau, and we'll be able to listen to some very good inspiring guests during that time. So at this time, Pamamsulang ka Elaine Adelbai Tang, and I'm very pleased today to introduce to my right Dr. Elaine Wang. She's originally from Taiwan, but she has lived in New York City and she has lived in San Francisco, and she's an avid traveler around the world, and she will explain a little bit of her traveling experience during the show. And she's one of the inspiring persons and leaders that have inspired us to work together to bring the Palau Blockchain Summit to Palau. And next to her is Martin Stroka, currently residing in the beautiful island of Bali, but has extensive experience in Silicon Valley in the financial technology space, as well as the blockchain space. And he has literally become a real friend of Palau, and this is not their first visit to Palau. They've been here several times and are inspired with the direction that Palau is heading in the aspiration to become a leader in the Pacific Islands in the blockchain and the financial technology. So with that, I would like to turn the floor to Dr. Elaine Wang to introduce a little bit about herself and say a few words about the blockchain event, and maybe share with us a few of the highlights of who the speakers are. Very exciting. And then after her, we'll hear a few words from Mr. Stroka. Miss Dr. Wang, Elaine, if I could call you, welcome to Palau. It's really nice to see you back.
Thank you, Alan.
And we're so thrilled that you have become a real friend of Palau, and we're very excited about the blockchain summit that's upcoming. And we're very happy to work with the Palau Blockchain Society, a lot of young people involved in that. And you've been an inspiration to them. Can I give you the floor to say a few words about the event and highlight some of the key speakers that are going to be joining us at this event?
Yes, thank you, Alan, for the kind introductions. And hi, everyone. I'm Elaine. And like Alan said earlier, this is not my first trip to Palau. This is also not my second trip, and I'm sure will never be the last one. Palau is a country that I truly love very much, and anything that I can do to help Palau is my pleasure, humble pleasure. So that's why with Palau Blockchain Society, Palau Ocean Foundation, Cura, and other supporters like Ripples, Mass Network, and other companies, we collectively together are putting together, organizing this first Palau Blockchain Summit, which will take place in the end of this month, which is actually next week, August 27 to 29 in Koro, Palau. The summit will be like 2 days of talks, speeches, roundtable workshops in Malaysia, and that's 27 and 28. And leading experts from all over the world will come to Palau and brainstorm in an unconference style. First, we will hear about all the Palauan people, Palauan government official, His Excellency Mr. President, and His Excellency Minister of Finance, to share with us some of the triumphs and challenges of Palau, so that all the world leaders will then come up with ideas, not just one, but multiple solutions, ideas to help Palau to advance to the next excellence success. So the speakers that will come include Vitalik Buterin. If anybody knows blockchain, they know he's like the father of Ethereum. He creates Ethereum blockchain, which then supports most of the ecosystem in blockchain Web3 business. And there are other speakers, including Christoph Enoth from Nomica. And he used to be working in UN, also a diplomat from Switzerland. He wants to help brainstorm with the government of Palau to see whether we can use the ocean resources and carbon credits and put it on chain to back like this, maybe the even can be a central bank's digital currencies and anything else. We also have the directors of financial technology of Vera, the largest carbon credits certification company in the whole world, to speak, to talk about the current update of the carbon credits. We also have many, many other speakers, more than 30 of them will come and brainstorm with everyone else here. So.
Well, that's very exciting, Ms. Wang, Elaine. You
Yes.
have given us some big names, and for many of us in Palau, some of these names we have absolutely no knowledge about. But what it does, a lot of the young people, both in Palau and abroad, that are more well-versed on the subject will be inspired by these big names that you have mentioned. I have a few questions for you about the particulars of these people, but before I do, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Stroka to say a few words as well. Then we'll have a discussion.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Alan. And yeah, it's wonderful to be here. I've been coming to Palau for many years as well, and really love the country. I've been, for a long time, there's been a lot of ideas, shared about potential uses of blockchain in Palau, and it's been really just a thrill to see the evolution and development that's taken place here, even in this most recent administration, and with initiatives like digital residency, the stablecoin from Ripple, and a lot of other kind of just general openness to adopting blockchain technology. At the same time, one of the things that I think is I've found just in talking with people locally is there's still a bit of a gap in understanding about the technology, and people are very eager to learn. And so every time I've engaged with whether it's the younger generation Palauans or people that are even holding office or part of Congress or Senate, I've found a very keen interest to learn in depth aspects of blockchain. And I think while this summit is pulling together 30 plus experts that are all coming to Palau, which is a pretty far place for a number of the speakers, I think one of the real benefits that can kind of come out of this summit, and that we've talked a lot about as a team, as well as the other organizers, is to put together some workshops, everything from Blockchain 101 to Web3 entrepreneurship, looking at even just how to use a blockchain wallet. So putting together some programs where any Palauan that wants to attend, and the summit itself, by the way, is completely free to attend for any Palauan. They can just go to palaublockchainsummit.com, click on the registration link, and then you'll be able to reserve your pass. But any Palauan that comes and attends will have a few opportunities, aside from the 2 days of content that's going to be a mix of dialogues and everything else, but they'll have a few opportunities to sit in on some real deep dives and substantive educational talks about blockchain. So even, and it's the kind of thing where even if you have zero knowledge, you've only just heard the terms blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and don't even know how all those pieces connect, this is a place where you should feel comfortable to just come, learn, absorb, and ask any question that comes to mind. And I think my hope would be that that interest can start to convert into more knowledge, usage, and engagement at all levels within the Palauan community. And so I think that's one of the big ideas, especially from the Blockchain Society, is about engaging everyone at the grassroots level to be part of this and to give them the opportunity to connect more with all these developments. And so that's what's really exciting about the event.
Well, Martin, it's really nice to hear that the organizers of this event have invited Palauans to come and join for free. I'm delighted to also hear that some high school students and some Palau community students are coming. I was asked today to really, Elaine, you will like this, to make sure we invite the women's organizations.
Yes.
Because we think that women, you know, like you witnessed the event for the Micronesian Voyagers in Society, and you had women navigating and sailing, and in this new space of blockchain, financial technology. I just have a question. Do you both believe that this has a chance to inspire young women and young women to engage in future business and future careers? And could you both touch base a little bit on that potential, starting with you, Elaine?
Of course, if you're asking me as a woman, blockchain technology and Web3 community of businesses or projects in general are especially for the younger generation as well. Of course, for everybody. But
Old men like me.
yes, old men like you too. But for everyone, because you do all the projects and work and communication over internet, and you can actually, at the comfort of your home, connect to all the leading experts over the world and brainstorm and operate on your company without even having a physical office. So this is opportunity for a lot of web savvy people, technology savvy people, younger people. With your phone, you can do really meaningful, impactful work in Palau with everyone in the world.
Dr. Wang, if I can call you Elaine.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of young Palauans, Martin, that are living abroad, going to school outside of Palau, mainly the United States. And very happy to say, Elaine, we have many students in Taiwan, your beautiful country of Taiwan, and some of them are majoring in blockchain or financial technology, IT. So there's definitely interest among the young people that are living abroad.
Yeah.
Some of them will be hearing this program and watching it on YouTube, and some of them or many of them will also be tuning in to listen to the Blockchain Summit event as well. Martin, do you think that the development of blockchain, financial technology, education, health can be a catalyst for this island of Palau to inspire young Palauans to return home someday? And will it have job opportunity creation? What are your views on this goal of finding a way for the Palauan young people to return home? Can you say a few words on that, and then maybe Elaine can add a few words on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, it's tough for me to give a very strong opinion on it because I just don't know or understand all the depths of that issue. But just from an outsider's perspective, I would say this is a frontier technology, and Web3 by its very nature is actually borderless, and is a way to engage with the whole world. And so whether people are physically here or somewhere else, I think they can engage in the Web3 and blockchain community, but at the same time, the global Web3 blockchain community is migrating to and drawn to certain innovative hubs around the world. And I think Palau itself, for those who have been paying attention, has really stood out among and kind of emerged as one of a half dozen or so leading countries in terms of adopting these sorts of technologies, trying new things, and as an agile and innovative government, the Republic of Palau has started to I think draw interest from a lot of global industry. And from what I've seen, there's been a number of very prominent business leaders that have started to visit Palau in the last couple of years. And I think naturally what can follow from that is more investment in connected or adjacent industries and more economic activity that draws from the global Web3 and also related technology industries. And by bringing some of that activity to Palau, I think naturally the scale and scope of opportunities for the Palauan population, Palauan citizens should inevitably increase. So there should be more and more reasons over time as more of these programs are adopted for Palauans to want to be here, because it's actually really interesting for a lot of people that are non-Palauan. They're drawn here. Maybe some Palauans will want to come back and take a look about, hey, what's going on? There's a lot of buzz in Palau.
Yeah.
And we can be assured that the salaries for workers in the blockchain are not going to be minimum wage, right?
Right.
It's
Exactly,
going to be
yeah.
Good earnings for young people.
Right. I think it's a very high caliber industry, and with a lot of opportunity comes a lot of options, and so that should be interesting for the younger
I'll come
generation.
back to you, Martin, as I would recognize you as one of these so-called digital nomads, but I'll put it off for now. I just want to shift attention to Elaine. And
So, yeah, just to follow on what Martin said, I think all these global Web3 leaders and businesses, they are looking at Palau's development, and they are amazed by how this remote Pacific island country can do in such a short time and with such amazing resources that maybe in Palau you took it for granted, but it's extremely valuable for a lot of people. For example, the amazing ocean of Palau. We are surrounded by beautiful ocean here in Palau, and put a lot of effort on protecting it. And now there are mandates in the United Nations and in the European market to actually capitalize and the carbon credits that the ocean can generate. And all of this can be put on chain to generate revenue and opportunities for Palau as a country to over the world. So that these kind of resources will draw projects and companies into Palau. And when they come to Palau, they open an office, they open a company, they register a company in Palau, and they will start hiring Palauans. And gradually, there will be more real estate development, there will be more just overall development, and then there will be job opportunities.
wow. Well, that's incredible, Elaine and Martin. Talk about digital nomads and talk about the birth of the blockchain. And it brings me to think about the state of Israel. Tel Aviv is an interesting hub where the ways technology was born, among many. Silicon Valley, where you both lived, is also the birthplace of Facebook, Google, and they've changed the world. Palau is a small little island that is aspiring to become a small hub of education, incubation. And I think it's really great that Palau's leaders over the years have built the submarine cable. We have the fiber optic cable. We have the infrastructure that can welcome this sort of economic growth. What I'm happy to hear is that if we welcome this industry to Palau, it will also become supportive of some long-term stay, like permanent tourism, that they don't come and leave and come and stay, and they will contribute to renting apartments from Palauans, and they'll contribute to buying groceries and contribute to the local economy. Martin, you live in Bali. Have you seen this positive impact in Bali, and do you think we can kind of inspire the same, maybe in a smaller way, with Palau in terms of what Elaine talked about in the residual positive effects of the blockchain industry in Palau?
Yeah, so I would say, Web3 and blockchain, a lot of it is software based, and you could think of that as just a beachhead, but there are a lot of adjacent technologies or applications to other, technologically driven, programs that can also be part of economic development. And, if Palau, whether it's in Web3 or other technology industries, can be one of the attractive digital nomad hubs around the world, I think there are a lot of downstream benefits. And that what I've seen in Bali is, I think they, as I understand it, they used to be heavily short-term tourism, but what you're seeing now is an adoption of programs that allow for a year or multi-year long residency, as long as you meet certain requirements and so forth. And I think that one of the benefits of this is that it is improved, with economies of scale and having, I think it's something like 1 million plus residents in all of Bali, so it's a far larger scale than Palau, but it's improved, the quality of living and the the availability of a lot of, amenities that people would, digital nomads and people like that would expect, or, Palauans that are used to living in the U.S. or, other places, similar places would come to expect that maybe they don't find as much when they're coming back, or visiting. And so I think by increasing and making some accommodation or room for a group of digital nomads, I think that can ultimately lead to, the need for more development and housing, whether that's in other, states, not necessarily all just crowding into Karora. But I think, over time, instead of just relying on people flying in for a week or two and then flying out, these people can contribute, to the local economy and help with the growth of businesses and everything else. So I think there's a ton of, other effects that can be very positive for the growth of the community, and also just scaling up a little bit in terms of what's available for people locally.
That's wonderful, wonderful, Martin. A lot of people in Palau, when you talk about the word blockchain, they relate it to Bitcoin or Ethereum, but as Elaine will further emphasize, blockchain is much bigger than just Bitcoin or blockchain for cryptocurrency. We have Palau's program that we have seen with the digital residency. We have Palau's experiment with the digital currency. And Elaine, can you see the utilization of blockchain technology in medicine and carbon credit trading?
Yes.
Can you expand a little bit on that?
Yes. So blockchain technology, like the word itself, is a technology. It is not applications, right? And so based on the blockchain technology, there can be many different applications. So many different industries can utilize blockchain technology to make the entire workflow or software transactions transparent, trustworthy, traceable, and some automatic, and so on and so forth. It can be used in, say, supply chains, agricultures, and carbon credit, like you said, and particularly medicine as well. For example, one of the experts who will come to the Palau Blockchain Summit, Vijit, and he's a founder and CEO of this company called PharmMint, and they are putting all the pharmaceutical medicines on blockchain registry, and you can have a transparent look of all the transaction and pricing of all the medicine. Because let's face it, right now, in all the healthcare system, we don't know the market price of a medicine. You get the medicine from this hospital. How do you know whether you're getting it cheaper or more expensive? So with this entire registration and on blockchain transaction of medicine, you are safe for getting like the right price of medicine, so you will actually get to the source of buying all these pharmaceutical. Another use case is on the carbon credits. All of these oceans and all of these aqua farming facilities, seaweeds, algae, they generate oxygen by removing carbon dioxide. And that itself generates a carbon credit because it takes away carbons and then it regenerates oxygen. And if you put that carbon credit registration on blockchain, then it's traceable. You can just trade it with somebody, a polluted company in the United States.
Right.
They can just buy this credit because they are polluted. They need some credit to balance out their pollution. And the country like Palau, who has been just removing carbon dioxide, can benefit financially from it. And with the blockchain technology, you make the transaction transparent, trustworthy, without double selling problem.
Well, that's incredible, Elaine. And I think the word blockchain becomes like the proof of the pudding, that what you're doing is visible, verifiable, and it's not altered or made up. And that allows this carbon credit trading to happen. And as you know, Ms. Wang, Dr. Wang, we are inviting to this blockchain summit all the governors of Palau, the speakers of each state, and many of these states have resources like the mangroves or the sea grass beds. Is there a possibility that these resources, if they are preserved, can also contribute to the blockchain carbon credit, and maybe the states can receive funding from the process in order to protect their environment?
Yes, they are also leaders, founders and CEO of some companies who are doing exactly that. They put biodiversity efforts as a commodity, as a real world assets to back these digital currency or the monetizing capitalization on blockchain for that. So then you can balance out and then sell these biodiversity credits to also other companies.
So with that, Elaine, I really want to encourage our friends, the governors, the state legislature, they're the owners of the resources. If they come to this blockchain event, they'll be able to meet the people that are doing this. Martin and Elaine, you know my daughter Ilana. She's the ambassador to the United Nations from Palau, and you've met her several times. She's very engaged in the plastic waste treaty negotiation now. She also has been engaged in carbon credits for the Pacific Islands and other islands. Do you see the growth of knowledge on the space of protecting the climate, the islands from climate change issues and documenting all of these? And the United States is adopting the blockchain concept to do these sort of things that Ilana is negotiating at the UN at this time and among the many nations. Do you see a relationship between blockchain and what the United States nations wants to accomplish?
Of course. Using the blockchain technology on blue carbon credits and everything else has been a prime focus for United Nations at the moment. They are at this point trying to come up or establish new matrix to measure that. So there are new legislation and new mandates for everyone in the whole world, from United Nations and every other country, European markets on that. And we are also very honored and glad that Her Excellency Ilana will also participate in the summit with a recorded video and to share about all the words in United Nations as well.
I see. Elaine and Martin, you've been to the Arak Islands, you've been to our mangroves. We are a victim to pollution from other islands and other countries of the debris floating to Palau. And when you first come, you say, wow, Palauans are polluting, but it's not the case. These are all trash floating. And I'm just hoping that there's a way to clean up our environment. And anyway, that's a different project, subject here. But Martin, can you just share a few thoughts about the opportunity for, you've been to Palau, Koror. This is the metropolis of Palau. You got the super centers, you got the shopping center, you got the restaurants. And in Bali, there's been a lot of expansion beyond the main hub of development, and new opportunities has happened. Do you think that through blockchain, through DAO, through new policies, the people and the state governments of, say, the Big Island that have many lands and very vast and no developed, is there an opportunity to see development migrate out of Koror to the other states in the Big Island of Palau, Babeldaw especially, as you have seen in Bali? Can you just say a few words about this this idea and whether DAO or some of the models that have been implemented in other places in the world, like Montenegro, can we sort of model in a small way to the bigger states of Babeldaw?
I think so. And so some other things that are not even blockchain related that I've seen, that have been very successful in the past are special economic zones. And so even cities like Shenzhen is originally a special economic zone. And I think sometimes there's, Koror itself is already, very well established and has all the, modern conveniences and so forth. And so I think there's something where it can be, adjacent development or, maybe in the near, closer states is probably something that can work. But in terms of other, parts of the island, I think the usage of special economic zones or this, this DAO part that you're talking about could be a way for a zone to differentiate itself, to attract, new kind of development, and also transparently share kind of any of the, development and upside with the residents and, community from that state. And so I think, and also just kind of touch back on a point from earlier. We were talking about, some of the benefits of blockchain. Blockchain itself is just a technology. You can use it for anything, but I think you really hit the nail on the head when you talked about record keeping. It's one of the biggest benefits is its transparency and traceability. So this carbon credit example, I think is very important. If state level leaders are putting some of those resources and bringing them to a global market, what they are, potentially, the potential opportunity there is to eliminate any middlemen or anyone in the middle and actually get the full value, the full market value of those resources. I think when there's opaque markets or things are done offline, then that's where it could end up getting, just a fraction of the real value that is being produced. And so, and I think when it comes to the environment, whether it's the ocean or mangroves or any of these initiatives, I think it's imperative to use any technologies like this that help to build awareness and ensure maximum transparency and maximum value. And so I think that's something that Palau can really set the tone on. But in terms of the just wrapping up on the zones and everything, I think absolutely that can be done, and that same principle applies in that DAOs, communities, there are ways to construct these programs that are very inclusive of people within a state level community or anything else, and allows them to share in a transparent way in any of the future development. So if a plan is set and people are included in that, then the future success of those programs can also be tied to this sort of instrument. And I think that gives confidence to both new developers, residents, and also aligns the local community stakeholders. So I think it's you could easily spend an hour or two just talking about that, but I do think it's a very exciting concept. But go ahead, Elaine.
I want to follow on
yes,
what Martin
please,
said
Elaine,
too. One thing that Web3 or blockchain communities are very different from other technology community is this. It's built directly from the community. It's not exactly just like, say, Vitalik itself is dictating the development of every Ethereum application. No, it's contributed by every participant in this community. So it's the decentralization, the essence of decentralization on the digital space. And the digital residency program of Palau has provided a big, more than 8,000 of community members digitally, and still growing to contribute to this country of Palau. I want to also say that we have also invited the core contributor of KlimaDAO. KlimaDAO is the largest climate DAO in the whole world. And the founders will talk about how the KlimaDAO actually grouped together a lot of people, thousands of people together to put billions, 6 billion worth of carbon credit facilitated, and also fund millions of projects just based on the power of community. So if we engage everybody using blockchain technology in this ecosystem, a lot of good things can happen.
Right, and I think a lot of those interest groups, they have their own alignment, and if they can be included in, one of the most fascinating things about Palau is that despite its very small population, there are 16 very unique states, each with their own flag, license plate. I've always found it, really wonderful how much Palau embraces its own decentralization and diversity. I didn't fully answer your question earlier about Bali and how that could connect to this.
Yes.
But I think a good example for those that are familiar with Bali is there are parts on the western and southwestern part of the island that are heavily populated, the most touristy areas, and have been like that for decades. But in the past 20 to 30 years, areas that were previously completely or barely even inhabited or utilized by local populations, such as Ubud and some other, everything in between essentially, has been developed a lot. And so there are now what used to be, heavily just, one or two small areas that were near the airport, and those, were the kind of the tourist hotspots that were most developed. Multiple clusters of development have evolved, and each of which has its own, microeconomy and everything else. And so I think it's really scaled up over the last 20 to 30 years, from what I understand from people that have been living there that long. But I think it's a really interesting model to look at. And if Palau itself were looking at developing, more on the, northern islands, I'm not familiar with what the status of that is, but I certainly think it's worth, looking at and connecting those
well, listening to you both, Elaine and Martin, if I were a young Palauan man or woman, I want to come to the Blockchain Summit.
Of course,
right?
and you
I
should.
want to learn all about these great things you're...
And it will be free for you.
And then you don't have to pay. And if I could just say a few words about paying, Elaine, we have, the Blockchain Summit has over 30 guests from all over the world paying their own way to get here, to share their views. I think that's pretty incredible. It means there's a desire to share their knowledge, their capability, and I really encourage the young Palauans, please take your time off on August 27th and 28th and come in and absorb all the lectures from all the experts and learn about this thing. It could be life-changing, right?
Yes.
It could be an inspiration to do great things.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of our program. I'm going to let you, Martin, say your last words about why you are inspired about Palau and why you encourage young people to come and participate, and whether you like our little island of Palau or not. I know you were a little scared of sharks, but maybe you've grown not to be. And then I'll let Elaine close, and then I'll wrap it up, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I love Palau, and I love everything that's Palau has been doing. I'm really, everything from, as a U.S. citizen, I'm also, just intrigued by the parallels. I think the Constitution, the federal system has a lot of parallels to the U.S., and I've always just found it to be a fascinating country that before 6+ years ago I had never even heard of. I didn't know it existed, but ever since I did learn about it, I've learned more and grown to love it more each year. So to me, I'm just really glad that the group, including yourselves and people from the Blockchain Society, the Palau Ocean Foundation, that everyone else came together to put this community-driven event that was just an idea. Somebody wanted there's been so many questions in the community. People wanted to learn more, and I think the fact that people have finally put something like this together, which is an open forum, an opportunity. I would point out, even on the talks on the 27th and 28th, a lot of these talks are meant to be followed by a Q&A session. So if people want to ask questions, they can ask questions of the speaker. So I think it's just a wonderful opportunity to get people engaged and to learn more. And in terms of the workshops themselves, the actual learning and training sessions, I recommend all of you, when you see this, to just go to PalauBlockchainSummit.com. We will continually update the agenda, and any news related to specific workshop programs will be updated there. And finally, while you're at the page, just make sure you register and reserve your Palauan pass, which ensures that you get into the summit free of charge. And when you do that, you yourself will also be receiving an NFT. So you'll already be engaging with the blockchain if you are able to successfully register. If you have any problems, email us. But
we will also
it is a little
teach you
tricky.
how to do that in the summit.
Yeah.
We will help you to get your first crypto wallet, and you will have this free NFT that you're going to receive as a Palauan participating in this summit.
Yeah.
All these amazing things that's going to happen to you. And just keep in mind, everybody, including Vitalik and myself and all my friends and guests, are traveling from all over the world to Palau on their own expenses, and in addition, giving resources to Palau to make this happen. And all the proceeds or all the profits that we ever will make will be donated to future education efforts in Palau for more blockchain educations and workshop. So I want to invite all of you to go to PalauBlockchainSummit.com or follow us on Twitter and reach out to us if you have any questions anytime. If you want to learn anything about blockchain, my email is open, Elaine at metropolisglobal.com.
And the Twitter is at Palau Summit.
Yeah.
And and I think it's just an exciting opportunity. And for those of you that have heard the phrase blockchain, just bounced around a lot, I think this is hopefully an opportunity for us to help you to make this tangible, to show you how you can use this. And, and then Ellen, maybe you want to help us, close it out, and also share about, how people can come in person and where else it'll be available.
Well, Martin and Elaine, this has been a really good show. I'm really pleased with what you're saying. I'm more educated today because of this program, thanks to you. But what's really good is this is an opportunity for our young people. I really encourage high school students, particularly the seniors who will be going to colleges next year, to come, because this can be a very interesting new field of study and maybe a good opportunity for future careers. I really also encourage all the students from the Palau Community College to come. We also really want to invite any member of the Chamber of Commerce to come, and also Elaine stresses that she really wants young women and women organizations to come and participate. This can be a whole new opportunity of learning about the blockchain. And I just want to end, Elaine, by thanking the President of Palau, Suran Whips Jr. And I want to make it clear, this blockchain summit is not sponsored by the government. This is a private initiative of sponsors and friends. But we are very thrilled that His Excellency has agreed to come and say a few words to welcome our guest, and also the Minister of Finance. We are very excited for the young people that are listening, especially the ones abroad. We know the name Vitalik Buterin. We know the name Ethereum. It's not any given day that a small island nation can welcome such a global leader of the industry to come to Palau. So let's make use of this opportunity. And with that, I want to thank you for listening in. Again, if I can say it in Palauan, Tial Kausischakl ma programa mornira Palesia Hotel Morsel Mings المورنيل اللوي with القبسنيل الالونغيا البويلا. It's going to take place at Ming's Hall at Palasia Hotel on the 27th, which is a Sunday, and also on the 28th. Mal mga madawra rokuil mikrel ad, especially mangidil Adelbai el memgo tangak lubleda tial besruldas magi madelt muil. Ngidil time el kurang arnya karmiu omesakak when you see Martin and you in the supermarket or Elaine, feel free to stop them and say, hey, we saw you on TV, we want to learn more. But with that, thank you very much, and it's been a great pleasure hosting the show at TMC. Thank you. May God bless all of us who have listened to this program. Thank you. Thank you, Elaine. I gotta shake hand. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Martin.